What is up, everybody? We are back on our Traitors OCG podcast. This week I'm here with Van Guy, Rita, Janessa, and Aspen has finally graced us with her presence again as well. And so, since you're here, Aspen, you missed the last 2 weeks. I do want to begin with you. Any of the drama you missed the last 2 weeks that you want to talk about, real quick?
I'm trying to remember. My memory ain't too good, but
Sound like Lori.
exactly. She she she. I just don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I literally
About
don't
Lori
even
or
know what
just
to
in
say
general?
about Lori specifically.
Fair enough.
But I was very surprised and I was shocked at how everything played out and fucking somebody cut Drea's TV off, cut her internet off, cut her Wi-Fi off, whatever. Like cut it.
She was doing the most the 2 weeks you were gone.
Ugh.
For this episode specifically, let's get to your all's ups. Whoever wants to go first, just your first one up. Your one up this week, and I will say Meg did send me her up and down. Her up this week is Jason.
Anthony
For Janessa. You're muted, fan guy.
Lori.
Oh, Lori.
You know what? I'm gonna up Lori too, actually.
How about you, Aspen? You're gonna make it 3?
Nick, I'm trying to be nice because I've been gone for a minute. But hell no. I'm gonna say honestly, I'm gonna give it to Mike. The last 3 minutes. Yep.
Fair enough. How about y'all's down for the week?
Mine is actually Jason.
Okay.
The Traitors.
Oh, both of them.
Ooh.
I was gonna say Dar for sure.
Meg also said Dar. Janessa, you gonna give us a down this week? You gonna say Dot? Is Dot your down this week?
No. I mean, because so many people are just kind of like, at this point, so many people are just like Raven. She's no one. They're just there. They're just kind of like. There's a lot of ups. Maybe Raven. Because with all the things that are, never mind. Sorry. Good.
We'll get to that. Well, I guess we'll begin with the aftermath of last week, where Drea caused a stir at the round table, thinking all the returnees were traitors, and then Ashley gets voted out, and that causes even bigger stir. Any thoughts on the initial aftermath and Mike wanting to try and save himself by getting people to vote for him, and then Anthony suspects Mike because of that?
I mean, I don't think that's a good reason to suspect him. I think he's just wants to be safe.
He had a point to that too, because he's the one that's been giving off the most information of anything, and so naturally, it has been in the traitor's mouth that they are trying to get Mike out. So he's not wrong. But I think Anthony is doing what Drea did and is clocking Mike on how Anthony would play and not taking into consideration how Mike would play. And so, yeah.
I'll just say I think Ashley's whole situation is really going to screw the I went from thinking the Traitors are going to win, and now I'm thinking the Faithful are going to win, and it all revolved around this Ashley aftermath.
Yeah, because now they looking suspect as fuck right now, both of them.
Do you all think that, and Mike said this in the comments yesterday, that Al and Dar should immediately said, we never talked to Ashley, or should they have not said that?
Well, the thing is, Dar tried to say that, and Mike picked it up. Remember, he said, I never had a one-on-one, and he was like, never? And so that goes back to what you just said a few minutes ago, the other question you had asked us. that's what really caused the most turmoil with me. Anthony, I wrote him as my up first because he had started narrowing people down. He was on the right track, right? But then he got distracted by Mike. And at first I thought that was going to be a bad thing. At first I was like, he's not in my up, and Mike was like on my up. But then I was like, Mike, you're upsetting me for other reasons I know we'll get to. But that whole, basically what I'm trying to say is, by the time the show came to the end, that whole thing, the reason that Anthony was up like, and is because it led him to do exactly what he did. He interrogated Mike, and Mike was doing exactly what he was trying to do. He needs to be more tight-lipped, and so he did what he was supposed to do by giving Anthony the so that worked. It started out not working in either one of their favor, what the position that they were holding and what they were doing, but it seemed like as the episode went on that it actually brought it full circle.
That is true. And I will say Mike is also suspecting Anthony because apparently Anthony just looked so distraught after it was revealed that Ashley was a traitor. Aspen, what do you think about this? At least what started in the episode of Aspen as Anthony versus Mike. If you could hear me.
You talking to me?
Yes, I'm talking to you. You are high tonight.
Wait, what'd you say about Anthony and Mike?
So, what are your thoughts on Anthony versus Mike, even though it kind of worked out in the end, maybe?
I think Mike came up. I think he did what he came to do. And Anthony over there looking wrong and being wrong. And Anthony just, I don't know, he do not strike me as being on the right path at all. He strike me as being like a slow jock. Like he giving off like, I just play football and model, like that's the vibe he's giving. So I'm just like, bro, you are all over the place. What do you mean, Mike? Like, but I commend Mike on how he turned his ass around at the end. He's like, well, this is what I said, Dar. And Mike basically, to me, put a nail in the coffin for Dar.
Fanguy, you've also played with Mike several times. What is it about Mike that makes him such a big target? But also, what is it about Mike that he's able to get his viewpoint across and change minds sometimes?
It's kind of the exact same thing that makes him a target that gives him that ability. He's just really smart. He's a smart dude, and he's very, very competitive. And he's got a little bit of like arrogance to his competitiveness because he kind of knows he's the best at a lot of things. And I think people pick up on that. Like they can clock like this guy's just a little bit arrogant about his abilities. They are his true abilities, but he's a little bit arrogant about it. And so I think it's just that. Like I think he's an easy target because he's so outspoken about how good he is sometimes, or like how knowledgeable he is about certain things. And in this game, there's no competition, so that aspect of it is kind of thrown out. So a lot of times he's a threat because he's just better than everyone at most of the competitions. But yeah, I think it's just he's smart and a little arrogant about it, and I think it rubbed me the wrong way before I just got to know him, a little more personally. And he's a sweetheart, but like he is who he is.
Rita, let's talk a little bit about Dar, because everyone in the comments is always, and even Alex when he's here, is always questioning how Dar is getting away with it from everyone, other than Mike now, who seems to be onto him. But why do you think it is about Dar that he keeps getting away from most people except Mike?
Listen, if I was in this game, Dar would not be getting away with it. So,
is it because you know him prior?
It's because I know him, and this is why I'm putting, one of the reasons why I'm putting Jason down is because he's allowing Dar's personality to overshadow his judgment, and he's not really looking at him. And there's times when Dar talks and he'll say something, but he's not really saying anything. And like he'll like the whole Drea and Mike thing, like he was trying to pin them together in a group chat, but he didn't really say what happened. He was just like, yeah, this happened and blah, 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 blah. But he didn't really like come with the facts. And he talks with a lot of gibberish, but it does sound like he's actually talking. And that's like what they're not picking up on.
To add on to what Rita was saying about that, I think that you're right. And I think that the that's the disadvantage that Jason had, not being able to play with him. I think if Jason had made it to the merge, that he would have seen that. He would have known that difference in Dar's gameplay, because right now he's attributing it to his gameplay. But if he had, if he had known, that would be it. Yeah. So that was what I wanted to add to Rita. You're right. Yes.
Well, whose fault was that Jason didn't make it to the merge?
Yay!
Dang, Nick, come on.
I was
It's just a joke.
I was a vigilante. I was living my title to the core. I was a vigilante. Okay, I was just doing right.
Sorry, fat guy. What did you want to say?
Oh, nothing. I just think Dar doesn't have a good poker face. It kind of showed this episode for the first time, because like this is the first time he's really been under scrutiny from a few people, and he's cracking. Like you could just tell he's cracking. Like I didn't play with him, and I could tell he's cracking. So I think his number is up. Like,
and people aren't, when they're saying they're trusting Dar, they don't really have a reason as to why. They're just putting him in that quiet group that everyone got eliminated in, and so they feel guilty with that. Like when Raven says she trusts Dar, she didn't have a reason. When Anthony said he trusts Dar, he didn't have a reason. They're just like, we trust Dar. And I'm like, what's your reason? The only one that had a reason was Lori. And I will give her that. She said that Dar told her that her name was out in the chopping block, and so I will give her that. But no one else had a reason for trusting Dar.
But that right there in itself is exactly what Anthony was talking. When everybody was in the beginning was talking about let's eliminate the people that she was not talking. That goes hand in hand with that.
Yeah.
If they would just stop and realize, why do we trust him? Because you never heard his name come up by Ashley, the one who was stirring the pot.
Right. Yeah. And they never had a conversation, allegedly, but they were throwing out names, which is true.
Right.
Aspen, do you think Dar's at least doing pretty good on the, anyone but me type of game? I mean, Al's name came up, and he eventually told Al about it, but he's happy that his name's not out there. You're muted, by the way.
Yes, exactly. He is. He did a good job. I mean, that's sometimes I just be playing, as long as it ain't me. Oh well. Sorry, Elle. I mean, I feel like Elle honestly holding her own and doing her own thing too, though. She don't need Dar to really defend her necessarily. She holding it down.
Van Guy, we'll get to the decision from the Traitors, but how did you feel Al did in the initial aftermath of the Ashley reveal?
I don't think she did good either. She just kind of looked like a deer in headlights. Like everybody's talking about who Ashley didn't talk to, and Elle's just kind of sitting there like do-do-do, and it just looks real suspicious when you're not even contributing to the conversation. The only thing you're like is, oh, I didn't talk to her. Like, I don't know. The only thing I think the Traitors in general did right this week was at the very end of the episode when they said, hey, let's at least cover one of our asses and kind of go, if we hear the other person's name, just kind of go with it. That way, if you end up getting eliminated, at least I voted for you, so it'll make me look better. And they both seemed on the same page about that. So that was really the only thing I think they did that was good gameplay from either of them this week.
We'll get back to the Traitors. Rita, how do you feel Drea did in her aftermath of the mess she helped make? She now is learning that she might actually have to listen to other people and not just go fully on intuition and trusting only Ashley. But how do you feel she did?
I think she learned her lesson. I think she shut her mouth. And she learned her lesson. And she did apologize to, some people. And I think she humbled herself a little bit. So I was just curious, though, why did she have that much screen time? Did people not request chats with her, or?
A lot of the screen time from this episode came in a very long backyard chat. It was a 2-hour backyard chat, and she showed up at the end, and most people already had their time.
Yeah, they said she showed up late, so okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's weird because anytime that someone says something about someone, they automatically will like change their view. Andrea does that. Lauren does that. Anthony kind of does that a little bit. And then, so it's like when she was like kind of like pushing Mike under again, it kind of seemed like that whole conversation from the backyard chat in the beginning kind of just like went out the window for her. So that's kind of like, I don't know. She didn't do that much this week, but she did apologize.
Janessa, you've been team Lauren lately, and Meg, her friend's not here this week. But how do you feel Lauren did with the whole? Because at first she was talking about, oh, she's good with Mike, and then Anthony seemed to change her mind pretty quickly, like Rita just said. How are you feeling with Lauren this week?
You know, I'm trying to allow myself to stay distracted with Mike and Anthony because I don't really want to have to like she's trying. She's not just. That's the whole thing. She's not just. She's still there. She's still putting the effort in. You know, she's trying, and that for me, I have to still support her because you know that's a tough. Listen, Traitors is messy, okay, and they don't have anything to focus on, like no competition stuff. I like that. That would be hard for me. So I think she's doing great for where she's at, but she needs to figure out her own game plan because if she keeps waffling like that, it's just going to make her look bad. She's already on a couple of people's target her radar because of that reason, and so I think she just needs to stop and actually decide how she truly feels and go forward that way. I think if she does that, she can pull herself back out of this.
Fan Guy or Aspen, do you have any other thoughts on Drea or Lauren? I think Aspen, yeah, you're there.
What?
Do you have any thoughts on Drea or Lauren?
Not really Lauren. She's hanging in there, I guess, honey. I don't know. Just it ain't looking too good. I feel sorry for her, honestly. But
Why do you feel sorry for her?
I don't know, cause she ain't no traitor, and they just is like pressed about this girl being a traitor, and I'm like, what the fuck? What about her is giving traitor? I don't even get it. I don't know. But Drea, I don't got no sympathy. She doing a bad job. She is not holding it down for the niggas. Not. She ain't. I'ma just say it. I don't care.
I'll say this. Say what you want about Drea. She is self-aware. She knows how she is. Which is
I know, but she's self-aware when it's too late. It's too late to be self-aware, girl.
Well, I mean, it's not too late if she's still in the game.
I think she's poised to make a run. I really do. Nobody thinks she's a traitor now.
But listen, listen, like I know her gameplay's a little messy, but at least she's the one at least she's still outing people. Everyone is like saying stuff behind like closed doors and then sporadically saying it to other people. And I'm like, at least she's throwing it out there. You know, it's like, it's not to offend anyone, but like, you know, she did ruffle some feathers. But I mean, at least she's outing people.
I love how fully aware of how messy she is. Like, she knows. She's like, I'm messy. Like, it is what it is. It's who I am. And you gotta love that. I love that about her. Is she just knows she's loud. She knows she's very all over the place with her talk. Like, she knows. And like, for me, that gives her a pass. She gets a pass because she knows how she is.
No, for that Fan Guy, for just I was on the fence, and I was so glad Rita was here to bounce back from Aspen's. Oh my God, I don't use the N word, but Mike, not Mike. Sorry, Fan Guy. Listen, seriously, you just set me back because of that very reason. She is detrimental to the faithfuls as a faithful, because the messy is exactly why the game Traitors is so difficult, because the Traitors are making it messy so that they can hide in plain sight. They're keeping the mess stirred, you know, and when someone's on the right track, maybe the faithfuls distract each other accidentally, but the Traitors do it on purpose. That's what makes them messy. So for Drea to be stirring in the mess, I have to agree with Aspen on this. Like, Drea, sit down and only speak if you actually like I understand that you have these thoughts. Like, I can't even process what it is that she's using to guide her. And that's what's making it hard for me to follow half of them, including Raven. That's what she's down.
She's using her intuition, is what she said. She said it was wrong.
Do you think
too.
as the episode went on, she was a little more trying to be more quiet at least?
I think she was. And honestly, for majority of this episode, she wasn't even in the episode. She was like I saw more of Anthony and Lori and Mike. I felt like I saw everyone but her.
And just to clarify, I don't think her gameplay is good.
I
I just think she's aware. I just think she's aware of how messy she is. And I think she's so messy that people are like, that's not a fucking traitor. Like, she's just too messy. So I'm seeing like legitimately some combination of her, Lori, and like Jason just kind of cruising through the rest of the game because the eyes seem to be everywhere else.
Them three for sure, yeah.
You got a point.
At a certain point, you're just so out there that like you can't be a traitor. Like it's like she's obviously not a traitor.
Oh man.
Or she's the best traitor in history. One of the two.
Well, we'll move on. We have to talk about Dot. This was his swan song episode. He got his feet cut from under him when he was trying to get some alliances going.
R.I.P. Dot. R.I.P. I feel like he kind of just had it coming. I don't know.
Was it because he was throwing Dar's name out there? He barely did it, but he did it.
Yeah. I don't know where Dot's downfall was, to be honest. I'm kind of confused about it. I don't know what made... I mean, probably because Dar was like, no, it gotta be Dot. It has to be.
I don't think Dot really had a downfall. I think he was just the easiest to target because no one was saying his name. But he started saying a lot of other people's names because of Ashley, which he was on the right track. But yeah,
he was actually in a pretty good spot. Like I think he was actually in a pretty good spot before this went down like that, and that might have been why they took him out because he just seemed like the safest bet for him.
Yeah. I don't know who else they could have taken out, to be honest. Maybe Lori. I don't know.
Well, we might as well talk about the Traitors' decision now then, because this was their decision. They did not decide to recruit, which probably shocks and appalls Fan Guy. First of all, what do you think about their decision to not recruit?
Terrible decision. Terrible. Why'd y'all not pull Mike in? Mike even was like, I would be a traitor. I'll go.
Fan Guy.
There's so much wrong with their decision. I mean, there's just so much wrong about their reasoning. There's so much wrong about their actual decision. There's just like everything about what they did is wrong, and they deserve to lose the game now as a result.
They're playing scared.
Yeah. It's so easy, and you have like two prime targets in Mike and Lauren that like bring them in and then feed them to the faithfuls. Like that's what you're supposed to do there. Bring them in. They're already on everybody's radar, and then feed them to the faithfuls. Like it's so obvious to me that it is appalling that it's like, so you're not going to recruit a shield for yourself when you already have a ton of heat on you, but you're going to murder Dot. And I've never, I can't believe I'm actually saying like that was just a weird and bad decision, because I'd be lying if I said there wasn't a little sunshine in my soul when he gets eliminated from these games. But it was just a really bad decision on every single possible level. And I think it sealed their fate as losers, not in life, but in this game.
Seems like the rest of you agree.
Yep. Fucking losers.
And
it was just like a scared decision. They like already made a decision that no one was gonna say yes. And they were like, let's just eliminate someone. And I'm like, you don't even know. You don't even know.
I literally think Raven, for some reason, might have been the only person that would have said no.
I could see that.
I think.
Oh God, her anxiety was not gonna let her be no traitor.
Maybe
Poor
Lori
thing.
as well. I think those are the only two that maybe would have said no.
Yeah. But I feel like everyone else would have been like, sure. Especially Mike or Jason.
You play the same game, whether you're a faithful or a traitor. It's the same game. You just have way more power on one side of it.
Mm,
So like, there's
And the fact
absolutely no reason to ever decline that.
the fact
I
that
don't know about
Jason's
that.
already teamed up with like L and Trust Dar, I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like he would have. Oh, wait, they can't see the people though, right? Is that what the game is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Janessa, you seem to disagree with something.
I do. I disagree with the fact that it's not the same game. I mean, for me, if I'm this just that type of person I am, but like Dar said, you have to like really convince yourself because it's those simple things that like an accidental slip up like Raven, clearly it's an accidental slip up for her in the game because she knows that she's a faithful. But for the person in the game who's truly like me, I would do those accidental slip ups, and I would you don't like that's the whole thing. You can't like if you're really a trader and you're trying to pretend like you're not a trader, and then you do an accidental slip up, then you got to know how to clean it up. You have to know how a typical person, how in the moment would I clean it up if I was act like those little natural behaviors, those natural reactions are not natural for me. I mean, just maybe I'm just one of those people who are I don't pay attention to when I naturally do something. So for me, being a trader would be different than it would be to be a faithful.
You
I
just
think it would.
pretend you're a faithful. Like you literally just say in your
Touche.
head, "I'm a
Touche.
faithful." How
Would
would
you
I?
have said
What am I going to do as a faithful? And you do all the same things you would do as a faithful, except now you can't get murdered. And if you get voted out at the round table, you still get. I get what you're saying. It's basically you're not confident in your own poker face.
No, let me clarify. Excuse me, because sometimes I don't use my words properly. Thank you, Most High. What I'm saying to you is that when I do something, I do it to the fullest. I don't know. I think it's we don't half-ass stuff, okay? So if I'm telling myself I'm a faithful, I might fuck up and get myself caught along with the other traders, okay? Because I'm going to be so faithful while I'm pretending to be a faithful, I'm really going to be laying out the facts. Like I really have to go through and actually can tell myself, okay, you're going to be faithful, but also remember not to out your like you have to decide, okay, if I'm a faithful, if I'm a trader pretending to be a faithful, then I have to choose target. And if I'm choosing targets to really play this role, I have to choose how many. How do I know how many? How do I know how many to choose if I'm not a trader and don't know how many traders there are? Okay, so that's the first issue.
You don't have to choose anybody though.
this sounds like
I'm gonna be able to counter everything you say because
What
I'm
I'm
telling
saying
you
for you,
from a
for me,
game theory perspective, and maybe it's just because I'm a scumbag poker player who
Well-
knows how to keep my emotions in check. But there is
that part.
no advantage to being a faithful in this
It
game.
is definitely the emotion part. It is definitely the
Yeah,
emotion
that's what I
part.
mean. So if you're saying
Yeah.
because you don't trust your own poker
No,
face and your
no,
own ability to get through that, then I get it.
well, no, it's not a poker face. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's that I'm also an actress, so I can if I get a role, I play that role. So in order to play a role where I'm pretending to be another role, I have to create another role. I have to have the script. I have to have everything laid out so that no matter and also my natural personality is I have to party planning. I'm doing Juneteenth for tomorrow. And everything that in order to also when I was a manager, you look at every possibility where something could go wrong and you have a contingency for that. So what I'm saying is it would take too much work. Okay. If I was going to do it maybe for $1 million, I would probably be willing to do it and I would probably be able to do it and then do it to the fullest. However, for fun, it would be very difficult and very time consuming and very socially stressing.
I know you both are Scorpios. It sounds like some classic Scorpio overthinking. Definitely. If you were a trader, I think you'd be overthinking maybe too much. That's what
The
you'd be afraid of.
zodiac signs.
No, like I think it's just simpler than, and it could just be like a just basic difference in philosophies. I just think it's simpler than all that. Like you're making it sound like you have to come up with a target and do all this stuff, but you don't. The game's gonna lead that anyway. Like
You
listen,
don't.
like, yeah, let it flow.
See,
Kind of.
that's the whole thing. I guess the operative word would be you. I would, because that's how I'm programmed. And I like me being programmed that way because then I feel like I can have fun when I'm doing whatever I'm doing. And if I run into a glitch, I can go to the Most High and I can meditate about it because most everything has been planned out. But you are the type of person, like you're saying, and that's okay. I like that. But yeah, but for me, it would be, and it happens quick, fan guy. You don't understand, like all of that I'm telling you, it doesn't take that long. Like just meditating and just like tuning in I can like open my eyes after 5 minutes and it's already like you've seen me on my season, like, so but it would be like you said, tell yourself that you're a different role. It would create 2 roles already right there.
I'll say this about accepting if you're a traitor or not. When I used to watch the real show before I hosted this game, it used to piss me off if people would like say no to being a traitor. After hosting the game, though, I can say though that like most of the time you should say yes. But if you're in like this really good spot as a faithful, I can understand why you would say no. I suppose that's about the only reason I could say that you should say no to that.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm just too logical. It's like you have so much power in one role, and you have so much less power in the other role. So just like looking at it from just a purely objective standpoint, I'd rather be in a position of power than a position where you're like Dot this week at the mercy of people's whims.
That's true, though. Yeah,
because you're not at the mercy of anyone's whims when you're a traitor, but you are at the mercy of the traitor's whims when you're a faithful. Like they could just be like, "Oh, they didn't talk much tonight. You're gone." If you're a traitor, you don't have to worry about that. So for me, it's just more of a strictly a game theory thing where it's like it's literally half less you have to worry about getting eliminated. Like if you're a traitor, you only have to worry about getting eliminated at the round table. Whereas if you're a faithful, you can go either way. Like
I mean, but that makes sense because more power creates more responsibility, comes with more responsibility, and so that's the whole thing. Like if I was, and I'm glad that you even mentioned that, Nick, because if I was again playing and I was in a good place as a faithful, I could see myself turning it down. But if I'm like struggling or I keep putting a target on myself, at that point, it would make more sense to me to now try to find a guaranteed alliance that may be willing to work with me unequivocally and help me at least get to the other side. If I had the opportunity, I may then be willing to consider the long road that I just painted out for everybody to see if that side is going to be better working for me.
Yeah, that's a good way to circle back to why Mike or Lauren might have been good people to ask because they're kind of at least filling the heat, so they probably would have been good people.
And I said Mike last week. I think I said Mike. They should. I figured Mike would. I mean, I didn't know him as much as everybody else, but like I said, from a game stance, if you're in that position where you're like, sometimes I'm a target and sometimes I'm not, it would be a good reason to say yes.
I don't think Mike would ever say no, honestly. There's no. I mean, I do know him. Mike would never say no. He thinks like I do. He's just too logical. Like he wants the power. You want the power.
Well, he likes the game too, so.
Well, I want to start going back and just going through people, talking about their games like we usually do each week. We might as well start with Anthony. He did come out and play harder this round. He is also going to be an interrogator. He had on his DILF shirt. He was ready to go this round. How are you feeling about Anthony overall this episode?
Yeah.
We did talk about it earlier, but Janessa, you did have him up.
Yes. So I had him up and then I wrote all the reasons down, and that was because he was like ready to start listing out. But then he got distracted. And so at some point I scratched him off from up, but then I came back because I realized that it actually worked in his benefit. Being focused on Mike, see, when he got distracted with Mike, I thought he was not going to communicate that. I thought he was going to just continue talking over here and, doing all those things. With him being the interrogator, that worked to his benefit because then he was able to put action with his thought process and with his focus. Now his distraction is paired with action. And now we can either put it out or we can turn it into something, but it wasn't just, causing him to keep spiraling over here, which is what I thought he was going to do. So that's why he became my up again, because he didn't just spiral over there. He went and did something with information.
Any final thoughts on the DILF?
I had him down, and for one, when he was targeting Mike, he was going solely based off of Mike asking to be safe, but he didn't go into the reason why Mike was asking to be safe. And so he kept leaving that part out each and every time he was telling somebody like that part of the story. And Mike did have a valid reason, because he is the one that, you know, he's giving the most information. So naturally the traitors are going to want to take him out. Two, he said he was going to put his Annalise Keating, but he's not even listening to people.
When he said that Annalise Keating, I was done. I was done. I was like, boy, you wish you was Annalise Keating. You wish.
And then he said, I've been in statistics. I'm like, boy, you aren't using logic, because listen, Mike was saying the names that Ashley was not talking about, or that was targeting. And I think he said Dot, his name, and Raven. And and Dot also said that. Raven also said it. Lori also said it, and he completely disregarded anyone else saying that Mike might be safe. He was just like, he was very much in tunnel vision, so that's why I put him down.
But like Genesis said, he did listen to Mike in the end, at least. Possibly.
Kind of, but then he went to Dar and said that
Yes,
he was.
yes, I forgot that.
He went to Dar and said that, oh, Mike is targeting you. And same with Raven, bro. I'm like, they're the same people.
I almost forgot that. Yes.
Cringe.
Sorry, Anthony.
I'm about to remark him off of here. Scratch.
I ain't.
I forgot that. Like right away, I was like, oh, come on.
Well, let's talk about Jason next. We haven't really touched upon him much. I think, Rita, you had him down. Why?
I get why Jason did what he did. But listen, Mike already outed you guys that you were working together. And then when everyone was talking about Jason, or talking to Jason about Mike's game, Jason could have actually like stuck up for Mike a couple of times on a couple occasions. And he could have done it in a very subtle way. Like, hey, he's brought a lot of information out. You know, like he is questioning people. Like he has his reasons. The reason that he had for Dar and Ashley and linking that together, that was fucking brilliant. And like with Mike's part, and Jason just completely disregarded that and kind of went with like what everyone else was thinking. So that was kind of a disappointment.
Jason seems to be in a pretty good spot to me, actually. Nobody's really clocking him. That's why I have him and Lori as like my two, in my brain, my favorites to win the game at this point. Because
he's playing a good individual game, but this whole like loyalty thing with him and Mike and alliances, like that's out of the window.
Well, we learned on y'all season that he's not the best when it comes to sticking to his alliance.
Fair.
That is literally the first thing he did in your season, where I was a Jason fan, and then he turns on old Susan, and I was like, come on, dude. Like, you can't sit here and preach loyalty, and then the first chance you get, cut the person who on so many levels is the worst person to cut, because they're not a good competitor, so they're not going to challenge you for personal immunity. They're bleh. Anyway, I think he's in a good spot in this game, but let's not pretend he's not. He wants to believe he's loyal. Like he does. Like I think he's got that in his heart. Like I'm loyal. I'm a good dude, because he is, no doubt, in real life. Like he is a good.
I'm not saying he's not a good dude in real life, but in this game, he is not loyal. So.
He is not. He's not. That's what I mean.
In his defense, I think
you can tell he really wants it.
I think I think he knows he's loyal. He's a loyal person, but when you're playing these games,
listen, as
it's
much
hard to
heat
be
as
loyal.
I got for my season, I still stayed loyal to that boy until the end. So I don't want to hear this.
True. I ain't gonna lie.
I don't think it's hard to be loyal in these games. I think it's hard to trust. I think it's hard to trust that other people are going to be loyal, but I don't necessarily think it's hard to be loyal. Like, it's actually probably the easiest thing ever. Like, okay, guess what? I'm not going to vote you out.
The trust brings the loyalty.
If you're just not going to be loyal, just don't say anything. Just like a regular game.
Definitely.
Aspen, what do you want to say?
Now Jason's that dude who's like, I'm loyal, but he's not going to be loyal.
But can't you tell by the chain when he put the chain on? Like when he bring that chain out.
Wait, was this the ice or the cross? Because he has two.
The ice. No, when he iced out, my boy said it's dark. He gotta shine. That shit sent me. I was like, you know what, Jason, you just went up in my book. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Wait,
And
so
then
do
you know
y'all
what? I appreciate how he kind of, put Dre in her little place. I did. I was like, okay, Jason, okay, I see you.
do y'all think Jason should be loyal and to who?
Not in this game. No, there's what is alliances? People are like, oh, this is my alliance. It's the freaking traitors. The only
Yeah.
alliance you want is with one of the traitors. Like, if you know who one of them is, make an
Yeah.
alliance with them. Otherwise, no.
I
There's
don't
no
think
point.
you can be completely loyal in this game, but that's also like kind of messing him up with not like clocking L or Dar either. And I'm not really sure why. That's just like he has a tunnel vision with like them and loyalty, but Mike, it's like, nah. That's kind of weird for me.
Reading the room all wrong. He out of touch too. He getting to that age where he getting out of touch.
God, here we go again.
He is.
Well, we'll move on to L. Fan Guy, last week you said, I don't know if you still feel that way, but you said that if the traders do off someone, it still could work in Al's favor. Do you still feel that way?
No.
You were saying last week that Dar was the one that should have recruited a returnee.
And I stand by that based when I said it with the knowledge I had at that time. But seeing how this Ashley aftermath played out, absolutely not. The only answer is to recruit Lauren or Mike. That's literally the only thing you can do that's going to help you if you're Dar or if you're L, because they're already on everybody's radar. So get yourself a shield. So no, I think L's in a slightly safer place than Dar, but not much at all, because people are kind of on to her and him just because of this. Like, Ashley just flipped the game literally upside down, because everybody's basing the game now on who Ashley talked to, who Ashley was talking about.
Do you think they're actually on to Al, though? I mean, outside of Raven, nobody's really like talking about Al.
I think you hear her name pop up here and there.
Well, they are saying that people haven't. Well, that Ashley didn't mention her name, but that's really as far as it goes.
Yeah, no, I think she's in a better spot than Dar as far as the traders go, but it's just she was in such a stronger spot a couple weeks ago, and if Ashley was still in the game, I think she'd be in a much better spot than she is, because she's on that short list of people who there seems to be like 4 names right now that everybody's like, oh, this is who Ashley wasn't protecting, so, or these are the people that Ashley wasn't targeting. So obviously, and she's on that short list. So I definitely think it's down for her in general speaking right now.
We will move on to Raven. We haven't talked about her much. I think Janessa had her down, but Raven is the one person thinking Al right now, at least.
She just too shy and too like timid. Like she needed like say something.
She is until she's not. Do you know the weird part about it is when she starts talking about drama is when she like can speak completely straight. Like when she was telling Dar that Mike was on him, she did not stutter. But anytime she's like,
You're talking about Raven, right?
she does stutter. And that's weird. Yeah. I think she likes the drama, but she doesn't want to admit it.
God almighty.
So she was my random down, but I think that's why I randomly chose her, because her name kept coming up when I kept thinking about the downs because of that reason. Like, I get it. Whew. Just thinking about social anxiety and having to speak up and having like, sometimes so
well, don't play a game where you got to be social. This is the whole thing.
So what's happening, and that's why Raven's down for me, is because her love of the drama is showing. Like when it's like the gossip and stuff, she's like in there. She's like, girly, I wasn't a girl. I stayed away from that kind of stuff for a reason, but she's like, she's in it. She's quick. She's like, yes, I know what he said. She said, boom, 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 boom. But then it's when it's like, okay, when I got to bring the facts and tell exactly, like, she's like, when she has to prepare exactly how, like, when it's not, I can't even explain how it's different. It's different. different when you're laying out the facts and like when you're trying to prove evidence and when you're just like, that's why.
No, yeah, Raven definitely does struggle when it comes to actually trying to get her point across about the game. I will agree, yeah.
But I do give her points up for having that conversation with Elle, but then not telling her that she's on Elle's or Elle is on her radar. And so, because I think she told that to who, Lori after? I can't remember.
Possibly.
I can't remember. But yeah, she was questioning Elle. They're having a conversation, and then I think it was Lori that she was talking to, and she said that she was suspicious of Elle and Lauren. But she didn't speak up on that with Elle, so I was like, kudos to her.
She needed. Ain't she in Colorado? She need to go and get some of that good Colorado grass.
She is doing that. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, she's on our team.
This entire cast is pretty high.
She need to be doing a little bit more then. Like, girl, you need to get some stronger stuff or something, because it ain't working.
That Lucinda Williams.
Exactly.
You already know.
Fan guy, do you have any thoughts on Raven?
That's my baby. No, I ain't got nothing bad to say about Raven. She, we like all the same stuff, and she could play the ukulele. I got nothing but, I mean, she is a little socially awkward, like when pressed. But like one thing that's bugging me, and we kind of saw it in the preview for next week, but like is when people get pressed and they get defensive, that shouldn't tell you anything. Because like if whether I'm a faithful or a traitor, if you're accusing me, I'm going to get defensive. And so it's weird that people read so much into like, oh, this person's getting defensive. Well, fuck yeah, I am. You're calling me out. Like, and so I think she needs some, people are kind of on to her a little bit about that. Like, yeah, of course she acts weird when you're pointing the finger at her, because we're all like that.
I agree with that so much, Fan Guy, just in general. I hate when people say, oh, you're being so defensive, you must be lying. But I get way more defensive when I'm telling the truth and people think I'm lying than the other way around. So
it's a form of gaslighting almost, where it's
like also offensive.
Yeah, someone's like trying to call you a liar, and you're like, no, bro, I'm not lying. What are you talking about? So, yeah, like that could, like I said, Raven needs a clear foundation that no one's talked to her about. And if someone in this game, which no one's going to step up at this point, like, and tell her, like, hey, like, maybe you shouldn't react like this. Like, I think you're safe, but you need to, like, dim it down a bit. Like, I think she would do really good.
I think Raven should talk more about what she knows before she's put in the place of being on the defensive, because that's why it's coming out almost gossipy, because it almost comes off like you're hanging on to it, and then as soon as you need it, you throw it out. So now it's almost like, should we trust it or should we not? Are you trying to distract us? And so if she would communicate the information that she gets, and then again, it's hard because I don't know how often they're able to talk and like the sequence of when they, but I think that with her timing of when she shares her information should be better managed.
Well, because no one's going out and saying, hey, I told this person, it's like they're not going around saying that. So she could keep her mouth shut when she hears things and then just let it organically come out.
Her timing is super sauce. Very, very sauce.
Were you in favor of her telling Dar or no? Regarding Mike?
Wait, that again?
Were you in favor of Raven telling Dar that Mike was suspecting him because Dar wasn't there?
I was not.
No,
are you not in favor just because Dar's a traitor? Is that what?
No, I just think that like there's just some information that if it's not yours, you don't need to say it to everyone. So if she's not saying, hey, I think Dar is sus, then don't talk about how Mike thinks Dar is sus. Like, I know you want to build that trust, but Dar already trusts you. So it does sound like gossip at that point. And I guarantee you, if Dar wants to, he will throw you under the bus to save himself.
Definitely will.
Especially as a traitor. It's almost like ammo for his arsenal.
Well, let's move on to Lori. I believe she was an up for both Fanguy and Rita. Why so up for Lori this week?
Do you want to go first?
Somebody better go before I go.
I think Lori did a really good job playing all sides of the spectrum of this whole entire chaotic circle. She played the middle ground. People weren't really sussing her that much. She still had her notes. She was asking questions to people, especially to Mike, that she was like, I'm not so sure about this. So I'm going to go and ask him, gets clarification, and then she's able to like process that and change her mind. I think she's coming up, and New Mexico, so I got to represent Lori.
Her game
Are you
awareness
from New
is
Mexico?
definitely
What?
You from New Mexico?
I live in New Mexico.
Lori's on our team too, Aspen, by the way.
Yeah, I thought that would make Aspen like her more, but I guess not.
How do I know that? I didn't even know. She don't
said
strike me
it
as a
briefly
type.
during the episode that she lost her train of thought and
one of
blamed it
those
on the smoke.
chats. You could definitely tell in one of those chats she was a little FOB, like.
She said it in this episode.
I must have missed it. I did not see that. I got to go back and watch that.
You were high too, I know.
Her game
It
awareness
was.
is picking up, though, Nick. It is. Her game awareness is picking up a little. And for
I
me,
will say that.
Yeah, it just comes down to the fact I think I've heard everybody else's name except for hers. The only person who's mentioned her was Jason, and that was weeks ago when he was on his older person, parade. Like, other than that, nobody's talking about Lori being a traitor at all. Nobody's even bringing her up. And I think in a game like this, that's what you want. So, like, I think she has like a pretty clear walk to the end on the faithful side of things.
I just have 2 words for Lori. Those notes. I love them. They really do matter. I mean, I said last week, I'll say it again, like those notes they're everything. And like, I love her ability to take those notes, because every time I sit down to take notes to do anything, like I start out great. And then after a while, I start like using like shorthand that I think I'll understand later on. And then after a while, I'm just not writing anything. And so then I have no notes at all. So her ability to have the notes and be able to still know what is on those notes and for them to be, utilized, I actually do appreciate it. Mm-hmm.
I will say, Fanguy. Oh, go ahead, Aspen.
I was just gonna say, is she utilizing the notes? What is she doing?
I mean, in this episode, she did pull out some information a couple of times when she was asked about her notes, and when she was too high to remember, she went to her notes, and that's what gathered her train of thought. So.
I think we're gonna have to have Lori publish these notes at the end of it.
Memoirs, Lori's memoirs.
Yeah, well, I need to see what's been getting wrote in that notebook, honey.
I need to see those stick figures too, Jason and Dre.
Any quick final thoughts on Mike or Lauren? We briefly talked about him earlier.
They're both in trouble.
Lauren. Yeah. I was gonna say Lauren more than Mike. I feel like because Mike can out talk Lauren, so he in a better spot than she is to me. But
the weird reason is they don't really have a reason to suss Lauren. The only thing that keeps coming up is Elle is putting her under the bus every single freaking time. Every time Elle is on that screen, she like
that was good of Al though. Al picked up on some really good things to throw Lauren under the bus. So.
If they compare that you just said about how Lauren keeps throwing, I mean, not Lauren. See, this is why
why you would fumble as a traitor?
Yes.
The wrong names.
Yes, already right there. I'm already in the negative. If Elle would, if they would if Anthony and them could put the fact that Elle keeps throwing Lauren under the bus, because I keep wanting to say Lauren and Lauren keep throwing me off. Keeps throwing Lauren under the bus, along with the fact that Elle's name never came up from Ashley. They'll start being on the right track. The other things will fall in place. Because go ahead.
I have one question, Nick. Can the Traitors be an interrogator?
Yes, if they are voting with the most votes, they can.
But none of them have been an interrogator either. That's like the crazy part. So there's like 3 links to her being that. So it's, I don't know. Yeah.
And so I think that they have at least enough. If you start like I guess in Traitors as a faithful, all you can really do is go back to the facts. And the facts is Elle's name didn't come up from Ashley. And Elle keeps throwing the same person under the bus. And she's not even a reason to be under there because Lauren discussed that in the beginning. So now there's no reason for Elle to keep throwing her up. So those two things are enough to start paying attention. Who's talking to Elle? What are they talking about? And, who has died and what do they, what relationship do they have to Elle and stuff like that? I think yes. So they need to start focusing on those. They need to start putting their clues together. The first clue is, who did Ashley not talk about? That's the first clue. Okay. You're going to have a section for that. The second clue is, who keeps throwing the same person up? If it's Elle, if it's what Drea was throwing up. Okay. So you have to breaking it down like that. And then the next clue you get, you put it together. It's like a murder mystery.
Is Lauren doing herself any favors though?
No, she definitely put a target on her back. She was on it, and her and Mike. I feel like they're almost playing the same but opposite games right now. They're talking and they're trying to be on the right track, but then they do so much talking they put a target on their back.
Well, Anthony clocked Lauren for changing her mind, right? Is that what it was?
Yeah, I was just going to ask. Last week you said you wanted them to be working closer together, and this week it was further apart.
I was not expecting that. I really wasn't. Like, it seemed like they were bonding, but I don't know. He doesn't really have a lot to go on other than she changed her mind about Mike. I don't know why that would make her
that was the talking part.
Though.
Yeah, that was the talking part. And so the more she talks, the more she's putting a target on her back, and she's just giving them a reason to feel like, oh, I heard your name, not realizing who they heard her name from. But I heard your name, and now you're acting suspicious.
I do agree with what they said, though. I mean, Mike does have a better chance of talking himself out than Lauren because he's played this game before, so he knows how to work with people.
Out of a bind or out of like being voted? Are you saying that he could talk himself out of being targeted or being voted out?
Probably being both.
Either.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, do y'all have any predictions for next week's chaotic week? It's going to be a very chaotic vote next week.
Mike's gonna get out.
I really would like to see Mike go far. I really would.
I don't know. It's either Mike or Lauren. Has to be.
I think it's gonna be Lauren.
There you go.
Oh no, wait. What we're saying? I'm so confused. Are we saying we're predicting who's going to be murdered or voted?
Well, the vote out at the round table, I guess.
Banished. Okay, so why are they? Okay, yeah, I don't know why they're. That's why they did put the. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm my processing. I'm catching up. I just finished watching the episode right before I pressed record. Got in here, so that's why. Okay.
Fan guy, do you think Mike could? Do you like Mike's? I guess his proof against Dar so far.
It makes a lot of sense to me. But again, I mean, me and Mike typically think on the same level a lot of times. So I think his evidence against Dar is gonna be. It's kind of like bad for both of them, right? Because I think it puts Mike in a lot of danger right now. I actually think him, Lauren, or maybe Dar are on the chopping block right now because of that. But I do think if they go with Mike and he's out, then they may go, well, Mike was really sure about Dar, and it kind of lead to Dar's demise next week. And if they go with Dar this week, then I think it's going to look really good for Mike, and it'll really be his best chance of moving forward. But I'm leaning towards it being Mike or Lauren this week.
So yes, so I agree with that, but I want to say that it would be in the faithful's best interest to vote out Mike for those reasons that Fan Guy just said. If they're not going to vote Dar, if they're going to vote Dar, go for Dar. That would be great, beautiful. Mike can, that's good for Mike, and that helps him stay in the game. However, if they're not going to vote for Dar, and they're going to vote for someone else at the table who is going to be a faithful, they need to put it on Mike so that he doesn't dagger doesn't go down in vain. And when he goes out, they will be like, okay, wait a minute. Like Fanguy just said, hold up. He was serious. And then Anthony will go back to his notes and he'll be like, when during the interrogation, and let's start looking at Dar. Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. Well, any quick final thoughts?
Get Dar out.
You rooting hard against Dar, Rita?
They better not go for Lauren. I'm gonna be mad. I'm gonna be hurt.
I'm sorry, Dar.
And that's the whole thing. If they go for Lauren, that is the thing. If they go, they're probably gonna go for Lauren because that's what the show needs. The show needs them to go for Lauren so that it can continue moving on. They're probably gonna go for Lauren and continue. Oh, we don't know now because she was a faithful. Which way to go?
Aspen, who do you want out next? Who do you want them to vote out?
I want them to take. You know what? I'm gonna let her live. I ain't even gonna say.
Lori,
okay.
they're not gonna. Do you think that you're gonna put the target on Lori?
Aspen.
Who are you gonna put it on, Lauren? Lauren, which one?
Go on, get out. Go on, get out. Go on. No, I think they're gonna take out. I think it's gonna be Lauren. I don't want them to take her out. I would rather them take out. I'd rather them take out Dora and figure it out, and Mike win.
We're still rooting for Mike.
This has been a pretty pro Mike podcast thus far.
He the GOAT, bruh.
It's not Dee Dee. Dee Dee's not the GOAT. She's not your GOAT, Aspen.
We're not gonna talk about that right now. We don't have time. Nick, wrap it up. Wrap it the fuck
up. We will be back next week for a chaotic episode to review.